A salesperson updates a customer address. Later, finance opens the same record and still sees the old one. So which address is correct? For years, fixing that meant someone exporting data, editing a spreadsheet, emailing it, and typing the same update twice into a second app. Dynamics 365 Dual Write changes that. It connects finance and operations apps with DATAVERSE-based customer apps, so shared records like customers and orders stay in sync automatically. Yotam M. Mirko Peters from M365 FM, and this knowledge nugget explains dual write in plain English. We'll cover what moves, how it moves, where dual write fits, and where it does no tempt. First, let Yotam start with the business problem that created the need for it. The problem dual write solves. Imagine a business where two groups work on the same customer but use completely different apps day to day. Finance and operations apps handle the back office work. That's money, stock, products, orders, purchasing, and the supply chain. This is where a company tracks what it sells, what it can deliver, what it owes, and what a customer needs to pay. Customer apps focus on work closer to the customer. Sales teams follow leads and build opportunities. Customer service handles questions and cases. Field service plans jobs and sends people to sites. Project teams track work promised to a customer. Different work needs different screens. A salesperson shouldn't have to dig through a finance screen just to update a contact after a call. But a finance user needs customer and order details that match what sales sees because invoices and deliveries depend on that information. Without a connection, one customer quietly becomes two records. Sales might list our Northwind Bikes, AO Finance might list our Northwind Bicycle Company. One record has the new street address, the other still sends invoices to the old office. Both records look reasonable on their own, but they no longer describe the same business relationship. Small problems pop up first. Someone can't find a customer because the name is different in another app. A sales rep promises a price or checks stock, but the information doesn't match the operational side. Finance needs to process an order, but the customer details require a check, an email, and another manual update. Then those small problems pile up. Someone exports customer data into a spreadsheet. Another person fixes a few rows and imports it somewhere else. Somebody else enters a new customer in both apps because nobody knows which record will appear first. Soon there are duplicates, different addresses, and more time spent checking data than using it. None of this happens because people are careless. It happens because the systems ask people to become the connection. People copy data. People remember which app comes first. People spot mistakes after they've already reached another team. That approach worked when business systems stayed separate and teams accepted delays. But when sales, service, finance, and operations all need the same customer information during the day, a spreadsheet becomes a poor handoff tool. Think about a simple order conversation. A customer calls sales and asks, can you deliver next week and what will it cost? The sales team needs product, price, and stock details to answer. Once the customer agrees, finance and operations need the right customer and order information to process the sale. Both sides need the same facts. Sales needs those facts in the app where salespeople work. Finance and operations need them in the app where they manage orders, money, and delivery. The goal is now to force every team into one giant screen. The goal is for shared records to follow a clear, agreed route. That is where dual write enters the picture. What dual write actually is so? What exactly is dual write? Here's the simplest definition. Dual write is Microsoft's built-in connection that keeps selected data in sync between Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations apps and DATAVERSE. DATAVERSE is the shared data foundation behind many Microsoft business apps. Dynamics 365 Sales, Customer Service, Field Service, and parts of Project Operations all use it. Power Apps and Power Automate can use it too. You don't need to know how DATAVERSE stores every single record to understand dual write. Just think of it as the common data area on the customer app side of Dynamics 365. Imagine an office building with a front office and a back office. The front office handles conversations with customers, salespeople, service agents, field workers. They all need screens that help them talk to people, track requests, and manage work. The back office handles the work that keeps the company running, financial records, stock, orders, purchasing, delivery. Both offices work for the same company, but without a proper connection between them, someone has to walk information from one side to the other. They carry a printed form, send an email, or copy data into another system. The work still gets done, but it takes longer, and details can change along the way. Dual write is like a staffed internal door between those two offices. When a supported record changes on one side, dual write passes the related change through that door to the other side. It doesn't combine every app into one giant app. Sales can still work in sales. Finance can still work in finance. Each team keeps the screens built for its work, while selected shared information stays connected behind the scenes. That word supported matters. Dual write doesn't blindly copy every piece of data in both systems. It works through defined connections between records that belong together. Microsoft calls these connections table maps. A table is simply a place where an app keeps one type of record. A customer table keeps customer records. A product table keeps product records. An address table keeps address details. A table map tells dual write which table on the finance and operations side connects to which table in DATAVERSE. Think of a table map as an agreed translation sheet. One column identifies a record on one side. Another column identifies its matching record on the other side. The rest of the sheet explains which fields belong together. Our name, phone number, address line. That agreement gives the connection rules. Without it, two apps might use different labels or store the same detail in different places. A map tells dual write how those details relate, so the apps don't need a person to interpret them every time. Now, people often hear the name dual write and assume it means every change always moves both ways. Sometimes it does. For a supported two-way map, a change in DATAVERSE can update the related record in finance and operations. A supported change in finance and operations can also update the related record in DATAVERSE. Both sides can take part in the same shared record. That's the dual part. The update happens in near real time. It moves quickly as people work instead of waiting for a scheduled job that runs overnight. A user updates a supported record and the connection sends that update across while the work is still current. Near real time doesn't mean magic or zero delay. It means the connection is built for live business work, not a once-a-day file exchange. If someone changes a detail, the related team doesn't need to wait until tomorrow morning to see it. That changes how teams can work. The front office can use data that comes from the back office. The back office can receive supported updates from customer-facing apps. DATAVERSE becomes the data foundation on one side, finance and operations remains the operational foundation on the other, and dual write keeps the approved shared records connected. Still, a live internal door needs rules. Before you let a record travel in both directions, you need to know where that record should begin, who can change it, and which side should lead when the two apps disagree. What data can move, and which system owns it. So which records can dual write keep connected? The common examples start with the records many departments share every day. Customer records, addresses, contacts, products, vendors, company details, and reference information used for finance and tax. Think about a customer record for a moment. Sales needs the customer's name, main contact, phone number, and delivery address. Finance needs the legal customer record, billing details, and information needed for orders and invoices. If each department keeps its own separate customer list, the company spends time comparing records instead of serving the customer. With the right dual write maps in place, those teams can work from connected customer details. That doesn't mean sales users suddenly need to learn the finance app. It means they can work with customer information in Dynamics 365 Sales, while finance users work with the related customer information in finance. The customer stays recognizable as the same customer across both places. Addresses matter too. A customer may have a billing address, a delivery address, and perhaps a site where a service worker needs to visit. These details can't just be treated as plain text copied into one box because each address has a different job. Dual write supports the shared record structure needed for that relationship. Contacts follow the same pattern. One customer company may have a buyer, an accounts payable contact, and a service manager. Sales needs to know who makes decisions. Finance needs to know where billing questions go. Service needs to know who is waiting at the site. Connected records help each team see the people connected to the customer without rebuilding that information in every app. Products are another common example. A sales rep needs to know what the company sells, what the product costs, and whether stock is available. Those answers usually come from the operational side of the business because that's where products, stock, purchasing, and fulfillment are managed. This is why product information often begins in finance and operations. An operations team creates and prepares a product there. Once that product is ready for customer-facing work, dual write can send the related product details into DATAVERSE. Sales users can then select and discuss the product in their own app without someone entering the product list a second time. That helps sales conversations stay grounded in what the business can actually provide. Pricing and inventory details can reach sales through the connected apps as well. Instead of guessing whether an item exists, whether the price changed, or whether stock can support a promise, the sales team can work from information tied to the operational side. That doesn't remove the need for good sales judgment. It removes one avoidable reason for a sales rep to phone the warehouse just to confirm basic details. Vendor information can also connect where a business process needs it. Company details, organizational structures, finance reference data, and tax reference data can matter across the customer side and the operations side. The exact records depend on the apps and processes a company uses, but the pattern stays the same. Share the records that need to mean the same thing in both places. Now, don't assume every record should travel in both directions. Some maps support two-way updates. A change can begin in DATAVERSE and move to finance and operations, or begin in finance and operations and move to DATAVERSE. That approach fits records where both sides have a proper business reason to update approved details. Other maps run one way. Products give us a useful example. In many businesses, finance and operations owns product creation because operations controls the product master, stock, units, and other details needed to sell and deliver it. The product then flows out to DATAVERSE, where sales and service teams can use it. That's a clear rule. The product doesn't need two teams creating competing versions. One side creates and governs the product, the other side receives and uses it as part of its work. Every shared record needs that kind of decision. Where does this record begin? Who can edit it? If a name, address, price, or classification looks wrong, which team fixes it? Those questions sound simple, but they prevent a lot of confusion later. A connection can move a change very quickly. If nobody agreed who owns that change, it can move a mistake just as quickly. Choose an owner for the record and, when needed, for individual details within that record. For example, sales might own a customer's relationship details and primary contact information. Finance might own payment-related details. Operations might own product and stock details. Your exact split depends on how your business works, but it needs to be written down and understood by the people using the apps. There are also two terms you may see after dual right expands DATAVERSE: party and company. A party is Microsoft's way of handling a person or organization in a consistent way. It helps connect people, organizations, contacts, and addresses without treating every relationship as a separate, unrelated record. A company helps DATAVERSE understand the business company context used by finance and operations. You don't need to become an expert in either term on day one. Just know they exist because finance and operations handles business structures that customer apps need to recognize when records cross between the two sides. Once records can travel in both directions, the process around those records matters just as much as the data itself, how a change travels between the apps. Let's follow one change through the system and see what actually happens. A sales rep is on a call with a customer who just moved to a new office. During that conversation, the rep opens the customer record in Dynamics 365 Sales and updates the street address. Simple enough, right? Then they save the record. That's where the interesting part begins. Sales stores that change in DATAVERSE O. That's the data side for customer-facing apps. Then dual right checks the map that connects customer and address info between this side and finance and operations. It sends the matching change across automatically. No export file sitting in a shared folder waiting for somebody to pick it up. Nobody has to email finance with a note saying, hey, please update this address too. The map already knows which fields are linked, and it sends the supported change straight to the related customer record in finance and operations. So a finance user can open that customer record later, see the updated address, and process an order or prepare an invoice without missing a beat. That's the practical result, plain and simple. Two people keep working in different apps, but neither has to retype the same customer detail. The sales rep works in a screen designed for customer conversations. The finance user works in a screen built for financial work. Each person sees the customer information they actually need, right where they need it. And the trip works in the other direction too. Imagine finance updates supported customer info in finance and operations O. Say a finance user corrects a detail that belongs on the operational customer record. Dual right uses the matching map in reverse and sends that related update to DATAVERSE. Then sales, customer service, field service, or any other DATAVERSE-based app can pick it up. This connection is synchronous for normal day-to-day work. Synchronous means the apps try to complete the related update as part of the same working moment instead of dropping it into a background job that might run 20 minutes later. If the connection can't complete the update, that issue needs attention immediately, not quietly hiding until someone notices a mismatch. That behavior makes sense for shared business records. You don't want a customer address, product detail, or other shared information drifting apart for hours because a batch job hasn't fired yet. People make decisions based on what they see on their screen right now, so the connection keeps both sides close together while work is happening. Still, live work sometimes needs a controlled pause. Dual right includes play, pause, and catch-up options. Play means the map is running and supported changes travel normally. Pause temporarily stops a map when a team needs to do planned work, investigate a problem, or manage a change safely. But pause isn't a permanent parking space. While a map is paused, changes can queue up for a limited time and space. When the map resumes, catch-up processes those waiting changes. That helps teams recover after a planned interruption. But somebody needs to own that pause and know when the map should start running again. Before any of this starts in daily work, there's another step: initial sync. Initial sync brings existing records from both sides to a shared starting point. Think about a company that already has customers in finance and operations and customer records in DATAVERSE. The connection can't just switch on and assume every existing record already matches perfectly. It needs a starting line. Initial sync helps bring approved existing data across before people rely on live updates. That work needs care, because duplicate records, incomplete addresses, and old test data don't magically clean themselves up just because a sync starts. They can actually create problems faster if the records don't follow the agreed rules. Once the maps are running, the people who manage dual right need a clear place to check its health. Dual right provides combined activity and error logs so administrators can see what the connection processed and where it ran into trouble. They can also set alerts and thresholds, which means the right people hear about problems before users discover them through a missing or failed update. That support view matters because every error has a cause. Maybe a required field is missing. Maybe a related record hasn't arrived yet. Maybe someone changed data in a way that doesn't fit the map. Retrying a failed record without fixing the cause usually just creates the same failure again. A well-run dual write setup watches the connection, fixes the reason behind errors, and keeps the maps focused on records that truly need to stay connected. Where dual write fits best. Dual write fits best when your business uses Dynamics 365 Finance or supply chain management alongside customer-facing apps like sales, customer service, field service, or project operations. These apps support different parts of the same business conversation. One team talks with the customer, another team plans delivery, manages stock, tracks costs, or sends the invoice. When both groups need to work from related records during the day, dual write can connect that work without forcing everyone into the same app. Take a prospect to cash process as an example. A salesperson works with a potential customer in Dynamics 365 Sales. They track the contact, discuss products, build a quote, and move toward an order. During that conversation, the salesperson needs customer details, product info, pricing, and order information that relates to the finance side of the company. Once the sale becomes real, finance and supply chain management takes over the work that happens after the promise. It handles the order, fulfillment, stock, billing, and financial records. Dual write helps those two parts stay connected. Salespeople can work in the customer app that fits their job, while finance and operations manage the transaction in the app built for their work. The customer doesn't become two separate stories, one told by sales and another told by finance. Field service gives you another good example. Imagine a company that sends technicians to install, repair, or maintain equipment at customer sites. The field worker needs customer details about the work, and information about the customer asset of the item the company installed or supports. Behind the scenes, the company also needs to track parts, costs, purchasing, and the money tied to that work. Field service focuses on planning and completing the visit. Finance and operations focuses on the operational and financial record around it. When those records connect properly, a technician's work doesn't sit apart from the parts used, the cost of the work, or the customer record connected to it. Project operations fits the same pattern, especially for companies that sell work by the project. A project team might manage customer work, people's time, planned costs, and project milestones. Finance needs to see the financial side of purchasing, costs, billing, and reporting. Without a connection, project managers can spend too much time chasing finance for updates, while finance waits for project teams to confirm what happened. Connected project records give both groups a clearer view of the work as it moves from a customer promise into financial activity. There's also a wider Power Platform benefit here. Because the customer app side uses DATAVERSE, approved data in DATAVERSE can support Power Apps and Power Automate. A company might build a small app for an internal team or create a flow that responds when a business record reaches a certain point. That doesn't mean every finance and operations record suddenly belongs in every Power App. It means connected records can become part of a wider set of business tools, as long as the company chooses that purpose carefully and protects the data properly. One boundary needs to stay clear. Dual write does not support Dynamics 365 Business Central. Business Central can connect with other Microsoft products through other methods, but dual write is for the finance and operations side of Dynamics 365 and Dataverse-based customer apps. It also isn't a tool for copying every table you can find. A record should move because people need the same operational record in both places, not because copying data feels safer. Dual write also doesn't replace a wider integration plan when a company needs reporting feeds, links to third-party systems, or a large data migration. Treating every data connection as the same job creates trouble quickly. Limits, preparation, and common mistakes. Think of dual write like a handshake agreement between two systems. They agree to keep certain shared records in sync, but it's not a magic pipe for every table, report, or external system. Before you set it up, check what integrations already exist. If an old connection and dual write both update the same customer record, you can create conflicts fast. That's a headache you don't want. So agree on the basics first. How will you enter names? Which legal company owns each record? Who can make changes? What security roles does each team need? Clean up duplicates and incomplete records before the first sync. Start with Microsoft's pre-built maps. They already connect common records. Custom tables and fields, those need careful testing. And check related tables and map dependencies, because sometimes one record needs another to exist before it can sync. Plan your first sync based on how much data you have. Don't treat it like a light switch you flip during lunch. That'll cause problems. A paused map still needs an owner and a restart plan. Queued changes and failed records don't stick around forever. Watch the activity logs, errors, alerts, and thresholds. When something fails, find the missing field, the bad record, or the broken rule behind it. Repeated retries won't fix bad data. When you see dual write as a controlled bridge, everything clicks into place. Conclusion: one shared business conversation. Dual write keeps supported shared records moving between finance and operations and your Dataverse-based customer apps. That way, teams can work from connected business data. Subscribe on your favorite podcast platform for more knowledge nuggets with me, Mirko Peters, at M365. FM and share this episode with someone who's still connecting sales, service, and finance through another spreadsheet.